Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is Tausif, and I'm starting a live stream to talk about New York City mayoral race. My friends, we spend a lot of time talking about state and federal issues on this channel. We talk about federal issues, we talk about Senate races, we talk about presidential politics, presidential election. We talk about things that are happening at the international level. But today we're going to talk about New York City mayor's race, local government. But this race is getting the attention of people all over the country. In fact, if you look at it, it's getting global attention because of the fact that New York City is one of the most important cities in the world. But before I jump into the discussion, I just want to highlight, if you are tuning in, if this is your first time, please make sure that you're subscribing to stay in touch. And I see Meg is here. Hello, Meg. Meg is saying, hey, Tausif. Hi, Meg. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you. And I would encourage others to also join the chat if you are tuning in, whether it's your first time or you've been here before. So, my friends, as I said, the New York City mayor's race is getting tremendous attention, as it should. It's a very important race. And New York City is not just one of the most important cities in America, it's one of the most important cities in the world, globally. People know about New York City, and so they're watching what's happening there. My friends, I wish I could provide some words of hope regarding the 2025 New York City mayoral race. I wish I could start this live stream by saying, "Hey, I got good news," or "Hey, let me show you some great things about this race." But there really is not much hope when you look at the current state of the mayoral race. You can see that a candidate who's leading the race doesn't really align well with common sense and logic. We are seeing which way the race is going. Zoran Mamdani is the communist in the race. And he's leading, not just leading, he's leading by a lot. If I share with you some information about the latest Fox News poll, you're going to be shocked at the numbers. Maybe you already know this. Maybe you already do. According to the latest Fox News poll, Zoran Mamdani is at 52%. Andrew Cuomo, somebody who has been in politics for many years, decades, all right? Decades spent in politics. Andrew Cuomo is at 28%. That's pretty unbelievable, right? For a place like New York City. Zoran Mamdani, in his 30s, he's at 52%. Andrew Cuomo, who spent decades in politics, is at 28%. And Curtis Sliwa, the Republican candidate, is at 14%. And Eric Adams, we don't even mention Eric Adams because Eric Adams dropped out. He dropped out. The incumbent, he realized that he's not going to be able to win. The incumbent realized that there is no chance that he's getting reelected. So he dropped out. He made the practical decision of saying, that's it for me. Dropping out. So Eric Adams left. And I just talked about the latest Fox News poll, but if you look at the latest Quinnipiac poll, what are the results of the Quinnipiac poll, my friends? Zohran Mamdani is at 46%. Andrew Cuomo is at 33%. Unbelievable. And Curtis Sliwa is at 15%. Michael Brown, good to see you. Our friend Michael Brown just tuned in from Australia. Good to see you, Michael. Thanks for being here. So whatever poll you look at, and we can go poll by poll by poll. I mean, I just told you the results of the Fox News poll and the Quinnipiac poll, but if you want the Suffolk poll, same thing, my friends. I'm just looking at it right now. 45% for Mamdani, 25% for Andrew Cuomo, 9% for Curtis Sliwa. What is going on? What is going on? You look at the real clear polling average, which puts Mamdani at 45.3%, Andrew Cuomo at 27.9%, and Curtis Sliwa at 14.1%. So whatever poll you're looking at, you can pick a poll. You can say, hey, I'm going to trust the Fox News poll. You can say, I'm going to trust the Quinnipiac poll. You can say, I'm going to trust the Suffolk poll or the CBS News poll, whatever poll you look at. By the way, I've not even mentioned the CBS News poll, which puts Mamdani at 43%, Cuomo at 28%, Curtis Sliwa at 15%. So whatever poll you look at, my friends, there's no good news. There's no hope. Things are looking pretty bad. Why? Because Zohran Mamdani is a communist. Is New York City on the verge of electing a communist for the office of the mayor? It is shocking. You know, I feel like it's not real. It's not. Is this real? Are we dreaming? Is this some kind of a nightmare that we are collectively going through, and maybe it's not real, and then we just open our eyes and we realize, oh, it was just a nightmare. It's not real. But it is real. It is real. It is happening in New York City. The city is about to elect a communist for the office of the mayor. My friends, whatever number you look at, whatever poll you look at, you pick your preferred poll, or you just put all the polls in a basket, close your eyes and pick one. Whatever you pick, the result is not looking good. And now there's pressure on Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, to drop out of the race. Many are saying, hey, Curtis, drop out, drop out. Many people are saying that. They're saying, Curtis Sliwa, drop out, drop out. You know why they're saying that? Why are they asking Curtis Sliwa to drop out? In case you have not been following the New York City mayoral race, that's an obvious question that you're going to come up with. You're going to ask, Tausif, why are people asking Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the race? Isn't he a Republican? Isn't he the Republican candidate? Should we not want him to stay in the race and try to win? Why would we even ask him to drop out? Why would anyone ask him to drop out? If you are a Republican, if you are a conservative, if you're looking for common sense policymaking, Why would anyone ask Curtis Sliwa to drop out? Here's the reason. People believe that if Curtis Sliwa drops out, then Andrew Cuomo may be able to win. Andrew Cuomo may be able to win. But hold on, Tausif. Hold on a second, Tausif. You're telling us that if Curtis Sliwa drops out, then Andrew Cuomo may be able to win. Why would we want Andrew Cuomo to win? Well, friends, it's about damage control at this point. I guess that's what's going on, damage control. People are thinking that Andrew Cuomo is a Democrat, although he's running as an independent. He's a Democrat, but he's going to be much better than Zoran Mamdani. We don't want a communist. So maybe Andrew Cuomo is a better choice, or I should say less worse than Zoran Mamdani. So that's the political calculation that people are doing when they ask Curtis Sliwa to drop out, because if you look at polls after polls after polls, you're going to see either Curtis Sliwa is at 14% or he's at 15% or he's at 9%. He has not even reached anywhere near 20%, so he's clearly not going to win. So maybe he should drop out so that Cuomo can win, just so that Zoran Mamdani can be defeated. Now, do you understand, my friends, what kind of political trouble New York City is facing? Do you understand? Or do you need more explanation? Do you want me to go through this all over again? Are you saying, Tausif, I don't quite understand it still. Why don't you explain it to me more? My friends, there's nothing to explain. Things are looking so grim in this New York City mayoral race. Things are so depressing. It's so gloomy that I don't know how the city is going to, what the city is going to experience over the next 4 years if Zoran Mamdani becomes the mayor. The Republicans have reached a point at which they're saying, Curtis Sliwa, our Republican candidate, Curtis Sliwa, why don't you drop out? Just so the folks who would have voted for you can vote for Cuomo, just so Mamdani can be prevented from taking the powers of the mayor's office. It's about damage control. It is about damage control at this point. The voters are left with two bad choices, absolute poor choice, Zoran Mamdani, full communist, or the failed Andrew Cuomo. We don't have to discuss much about Andrew Cuomo, do we? We know who Andrew Cuomo is. He spent decades in politics. He worked in federal government, he worked in state government, he was the governor of New York. And should we go through the history of Cuomo all over again? My friends, Cuomo statistically doesn't have a chance to win. Having all the experience that he has, having the name recognition that he has, I mean, and that's big, Cuomo, that's a name that people know in New York politics. They know Cuomo. When they hear the word Cuomo, the name Cuomo, they know exactly who you're talking about. But still, you can see the current state of the New York City mayoral race. Cuomo statistically doesn't have a chance to win, because poll after poll after poll, you can see he is at 28%, he's at 33%, he's at 25%, he's at 28%, he's at 24%. So he does not have the numbers to win. And that's why people are saying Curtis Sliwa. Why don't you drop out? Make some room for Cuomo to gain some ground so he can win, so that he can at least have an opportunity to win, just to stop a communist from becoming the mayor, just to stop Zoran Mamdani from becoming the mayor. That's a bad situation. Cuomo is a Democrat. If I say, hey, Cuomo is a Democrat, why would anyone ever want Cuomo? Why would freedom-loving Americans, those who believe in limited government, those who believe in freedom, those who believe in common sense policymaking, why would anyone support Cuomo? You know why? Because Cuomo is not communist like Zoran Mamdani. Cuomo is not a communist. He's left. He's on the left, but he's not a communist. So this is what New York City's current position is. You either get a full communist named Zoran Mamdani, or you get an extremely failed politician like Andrew Cuomo, but only if Curtis Sliwa drops out. And even then, there is no guarantee that Cuomo is going to win. Let's say Curtis Sliwa decides right at this very moment that he's going to drop out, he's going to exit the race. He takes his name, he withdraws his name, and he just leaves. And he says, Cuomo, it's all yours. Go ahead, win if you can. Even then, there's no guarantee that Cuomo is going to win. Even then, at the end of the day, Zoran Mamdani may end up winning. So that's why I say, my friends, New York City's economic future is not looking good. And I say that with a broken heart. And somebody might say, hey, listen, you don't even live in New York, do you? Why do you care about New York? My friends, New York City is an American city, and as an American, as a freedom-loving American, as somebody who believes in limited government, accountable government, transparent government, as somebody who believes in growth and prosperity for everyone, as somebody who believes that we can make America greater than ever before, as somebody who believes that we can help the various American cities that are now facing different problems, we can help those cities overcome the problems and be greater than ever before. I care about New York City. I care about Seattle. I care about Portland. I want these cities to come out of Democrat influence, and I want all these cities to thrive, just as I want my own city to thrive, just as I want Miami to thrive even more, Orlando to thrive even more, Memphis to thrive. I want the crime problems in Memphis to be addressed so that Memphis can be great again. I want Dallas to prosper. I want Omaha to prosper. I want Milwaukee to do great. I want Chicago to do great. Chicago is in a lot of trouble. I want Chicago to be an awesome city once again. You name an American city, my friends. Name an American city. And I'll tell you, I want that city to thrive. We want all American cities to do good. So I may be living in Wisconsin, but I care about cities coast to coast, my friends. I care about our cities coast to coast. I care about all American cities. And when I see New York is suffering, when I see New York is in pain, I want New York City to do good. I want New York City to be a healthy city once again, healthy in every way, financially healthy. My friends, what's happening in New York at the very moment, it doesn't give us a lot of hope about the city's financial future. if Zoran Mamdani gets elected, the city is going to be in a lot of trouble, my friends. And I put that in simple terms. I can go into greater details about why the city is going to be in financial trouble. I can go sector by sector. I can talk about the different parts of the economy. I can give you detailed analysis of why the things are going to be quite challenging for New York if a communist is elected mayor. Hold on a second. I'll tell you something which is the harsh reality, and I think everyone needs to know this. Okay? What I'm about to tell you is the harsh reality. Something that I wish that I didn't have to say, but I have to say it. Because it's always my goal to present to you the truth. My friends, to all those people who are here for the first time, welcome. Welcome to this channel. Welcome to this channel. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, my friends. This election, the New York City mayoral election, this is a missed opportunity for the Republicans. There you go. I said it. And I'll explain it. I'll explain exactly what I mean. But once again, I wish I didn't have to say this. I wish the reality would have been much different than it is now on the ground in New York. My friends, this election is a missed opportunity for the Republicans. And I've talked about this in the past, I think. It's probably there somewhere on this channel. If you go back and look at my previous videos, you're going to find one video where I talked about this. It needs to be mentioned again. The American people, when you look at politics, the American people are looking at the younger generation. It's a missed opportunity, this New York City mayoral race. It's a missed opportunity because the Republicans came up with someone like Curtis Sliwa and put him on the ballot. Now, Curtis Sliwa is a good man. I hear good things about him. I've never met him. But I'm sure he's a good man. He does a lot for the community. And I'm sure he would be a great mayor. But it's obvious that he doesn't have the support that he needs. In terms of the numbers, he doesn't have the percentage needed to be elected mayor. All the polls, you can say, oh, one poll is wrong. But you look at poll after poll after poll. Not all the polls are wrong. My friends, my question is, why couldn't the Republicans in New York find a younger and more energetic candidate for this race? Why? You get an opportunity like this, where you have the incumbent mayor, Eric Adams, clearly not having a pathway to victory, which is why he dropped out. You get an open seat like that. It's essentially an open seat. You get an open seat like that. And we knew it ahead of time. We knew that Eric Adams wouldn't win. So you could treat it as an open seat pretty much when the incumbent clearly doesn't have a path to re-election. So you have an open seat like that, and you think about the kind of city that New York is. You look at the population of New York, you look at the diverse background that people have in New York. And the focus should be on getting a young and energetic candidate on the ballot from the Republican side, somebody who can really energize the base, somebody who can get votes from the independents and the moderate voters, somebody who can attract the swing votes, somebody who can campaign with tremendous energy, somebody who can go and connect with people from all walks of life, somebody who can be in front of the TV cameras and look great and be charismatic and just get a lot of attention. That is the kind of candidate that we, the Republicans, should have placed on the ballot from our side in New York for the mayoral race. But that did not happen, sadly. Sadly, that didn't happen. We have Curtis Sliwa. Curtis Sliwa, a nice man. But you have to face the reality that people have a desire for young and energetic and charismatic candidates. And that is what the Republicans should have done. And Curtis Sliwa could have been there as an advisor, as a key player. If we could have had a strong Republican candidate who could get elected, then Curtis Sliwa could still play a very active role. He could be a mentor, he could be a guide. But clearly, him as a candidate, it's not working out for us. And we have reached a point where Republicans are saying maybe it's time for Curtis Sliwa to drop out so that Cuomo can win, so that we can at least have less damage than the widespread economic damage we are going to see if Zoran Mamdani gets in. This is not effective politics, okay? This is not effective politics. Now, you don't tell me, my friend. I'm not saying somebody is telling me, but let's assume somebody here watching me is saying, Tausif, we couldn't find a young, energetic, and charismatic candidate for the New York City mayoral race. If you tell me that, I'm not going to believe it. And I'm going to say, you did not search properly. You didn't search properly. Are you telling me that in the city of New York, you could not find a strong conservative who's young and energetic and charismatic, who could run in this mayoral race? New York City being the massive city that it is, being the diverse city that it is, you couldn't find a strong Republican who's in his 30s, in his 40s, but not older than that, under 50. You can find a young, charismatic, energetic Republican mayoral candidate under the age of 50. I'm not even saying you're going to have to pick, a 24-year-old. That's not what I'm saying when I say young. Young doesn't mean just young, fresh out of college. No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying somebody with some experience, somebody with a vision, somebody who is looking to do more, somebody with a passion for public service, somebody who understands mathematics, the logic and reason, somebody who understands economics, somebody who understands the political landscape, somebody who understands the importance of going out there and being visible and being in front of the cameras and presenting a common sense message effectively. You couldn't find a candidate, a Republican conservative candidate like that in the city of New York. If you tell me that, I'm not going to believe it. You did not look in the right places. You didn't do your homework if you are telling me that no such candidate exists. You got to look. You got to do the homework. You got to go and search for someone like that. With Curtis Sliwa, where are we? By the way, with all due respect to Curtis Sliwa, all due respect, I hear only great things about him. He's a good man. People like him. But he can't get us across the finish line. He can't win. It's obvious. And I'm not saying that. If you're thinking, Tausif, you're just being rude, don't say that, Tausif. I am not saying that. You have to look at the numbers. And yes, if you are skeptical about a certain poll, I get it. Do you think that I believe all the polls I see, all the poll numbers I see? No. But in this case, you look at different polls from different sources, you're coming up with very, very similar results with, a few percentage point difference. Some say Curtis Lewa is at 14%. Some say, oh, no, he's not at 14%. He's actually at 15%. Some say, you know what, he's actually at 9. Some say he's at 10. Whatever it is, no one has said, oh, Curtis Lewa is at 20 points or more, at 20% or more. How did we get stuck in this situation? How did we get stuck in this current state of the New York City mayoral race? I don't get it. I want to talk to the New York Republicans. New York Republicans, have you done your homework? Are you truly working hard? Are you truly committed to winning? I would like to believe that the answer is yes. But in the case of the New York City mayoral race, I'm quite disappointed. I am very disappointed that our Republican candidate is so far behind that he's being asked to drop out just so Cuomo can win, just because Cuomo is not as far left as Mamdani. I mean, you're choosing between worse and the worst. We don't want that. We want a good candidate. We want a common sense political figure. We want somebody who can get the job done, somebody who's not just gonna say good things, but actually be able to deliver, somebody who knows the political mechanism, somebody who understands government and governance, somebody who understands policymaking, somebody who understands the needs of the people of New York City, somebody who can work well with the Trump administration, somebody who is going to work well with state government, somebody who can get the job done. Is it too much to ask for, my friends? I'm just saying New York City needs a common sense leader. And we, the Republicans, we have the power. We have the ability to find such a candidate, but in the case of this mayoral race, it's a missed opportunity. The ship has already sailed, and things are looking really bad. My friends, New York Republicans, you should have found a candidate who's young, somebody perhaps who's bilingual or multilingual, somebody who can speak 2 or more languages, which Mamdani clearly can do. And that's why Mamdani is leading. He can go into a community and literally speak their language. This guy knows at least 2 languages. I know he knows English. I know he knows Hindi. And he perhaps knows other languages too that I'm not aware of. And in fact, a lot of people in New York, they know at least 2 languages. It's not very uncommon, actually. A lot of people in America, they know 2 languages. Okay? For other races, it may not matter as much, but for a diverse place like New York City, I think it makes a difference. Somebody who speaks English, obviously, and somebody who speaks one or two other languages. I mean, listen, you might be saying, Tausif, what are you talking about? It's going to be tough to find someone like that. No, it's as I told you, in New York, there are lots of people. You know, the Italian Americans, they speak Italian, they speak English. There are other people. You look at the South Asian community. There are folks who speak English and then they can speak either Hindi, Urdu, or Bengali. There are others who speak Spanish and English. There are others who speak German and English. There are others who speak Polish and English. It's not hard. I mean, you know, if you ask me, Tausif, you're saying a lot of cool stuff, it seems, but how many languages can you speak? Well, I speak 4 languages, just so you understand. Okay? I speak English, I speak Bengali. Bengali is my first language. And I also can speak in Hindi and in Urdu. So that's 4 languages for me in total. And I have friends who can speak more languages than that. But they're not in New York. But in New York, obviously, you can find people like that. Because it's important. You have to look at the cultural aspect, especially in a diverse city like New York. If you, as a candidate, as a Republican candidate, if you can go into a community and you can deliver a campaign speech in their language, you can win their votes. It's the practical way of doing things. It's not going to be necessary everywhere. But New York City, it's a very, very different place because of the large numbers of people who live there, because of the diversity. So if you can go into a community and speak Urdu or Hindi or Bengali, or you can go and talk to the Italian Americans and you speak Italian or German, it's going to help you in practical terms get your numbers up. It's the fact, whether you like what I'm saying or not. And Mamdani has that advantage, clearly. And do you understand what a disaster it would be if Mamdani wins? What a disaster it would be for the economy of New York. There are business people in the city of New York who are extremely anxious because they know that a communist can never be pro-business. A communist can never understand the needs of the business community. And I'm not talking about big businesses. You know, some people, when they hear business, they think of giant corporations. No, we're not going that far. Think about small businesses. Think about small businesses. Think about the local grocery store. Let's say you live in New York and if you've worked hard all your life to establish a small neighborhood grocery store. And with your great products and service, you've built up a nice customer base and people trust you. People come to your grocery store. That grocery store may go out of business if Zoran Mamdani comes in and he establishes government-run grocery stores. What's going to happen to that small grocery store? Maybe an immigrant-run grocery store. I'm talking about legal immigrants. People who come to the United States legally. They work hard. They set up a grocery store in New York City. And Zoran Mamdani comes in, and Zoran Mamdani, given his communist ambitions, he sets up government-run grocery stores. What's going to happen to that small business that you set up? that immigrant-run business, maybe that women-owned business, maybe a veteran-owned business, a small grocery store. How are you going to compete with Mamdani's government-run grocery stores? Listen, Zohran Mamdani's ideas will completely distort the market. There will be severe economic damage. Small business owners are already living in tremendous fear. Tremendous fear. They know, if anyone who has been paying attention, they know how severely destructive Zohran Mamdani's economic policies will be. New York City cannot afford that. New York City cannot afford to have a communist mayor. But that's what seems to be happening. New York is on the verge of electing a communist mayor. And you might say, Tausif, you know what? I think Curtis Lewa is going to drop out. I think that'll give us, time to catch up and, do, damage control, maybe get Cuomo in. He's still going to be a very bad mayor, but he's going to be better than Mamdani. So, we can live with that. No. As I said, even if Curtis Lewa drops out, there's no guarantee that Cuomo is going to win. You gotta look at the numbers. And don't forget what Cuomo did to the state. I think people seem to be forgetting that. Our friend Swaggy is here. Swaggy, so good to see you. I just saw Swaggy's name pop up. Swaggy is our friend from California. Swaggy, great to see your name pop up in the live chat. Thank you for being here. Sorry, I didn't get much opportunity today to recognize our friends in the live chat. I'm sorry for that. I am sorry. But Swaggy, so wonderful to see you. Thank you for being here. Everyone say hello to Swaggy. That's our friend Colin from California. So as I was saying, don't forget the damage that Cuomo did to New York. Suddenly, Cuomo seems to be the acceptable. I'm not saying he's an acceptable option, but that's what a lot of people say now. Oh, let's just get Cuomo in. At least we avoid Zohran Mamdani. We can live with Cuomo as the mayor. No, do not forget Cuomo's history, Cuomo's background. Don't forget the days when Cuomo was the governor of New York. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. My friends, New York is in such a mess. I just don't know how the city is going to be able to economically move forward, financially move forward, if Zohran Mamdani is elected mayor. I have no idea. Anyone here who's from New York City? Anyone here from New York City? Let me just ask you. Anyone here from New York City? Will you please answer my question in the live chat? Answer my question in the live chat, my friends. Marjorie Bedford is here. Marjorie, so good to see you. That's our friend from Canada. Marjorie, good to see you, Marjorie. Good to see you. John is saying that he's from New York. Well, John, are you from New York City? Yes, you are. Is that what you're saying? I'm not saying New York State. I'm saying, are you from New York City? I just want to clarify that in case I didn't say it properly the first time. I just want to find out if you are from New York City. Okay, Edwin's saying he's from New York City. All right. Well, to all the New York City voters, I don't know how many people, how many New York City voters are watching. I hope a lot. I hope a lot. So some will be watching afterwards once the live stream is over. Some will be watching the replay. We got James from Long Island, New York. There's JMM from New York City. Okay. So to the New York City voters, JMM from Queens. All right, Queens. Okay, we got other friends from Queens here. Matt is asking, what is your heritage background? Well, originally, I'm from Bangladesh. I came to the United States legally as an immigrant back in 2007, became a U.S. citizen in the year 2014. Okay, that's my background. For just a quick, introduction there in response to your question. All right, to the New York City voters. Do you understand the consequences of electing a communist? Do you understand? I'm not saying, oh, far left socialist with some socialist ideas, somebody who supports some socialist policies. This is like full-scale communism. Do you understand the consequences of electing a communist for the office of the mayor in a city like New York City? It's easy to say, oh, yeah, we're going to give you free stuff. This is what the socialists and the communists do. This is a technique that they have. They just tell people, oh, this is going to be free. Your bus is going to be free. Your housing. We're going to do rent controls. We're going to do subsidies. We're going to have public housing. We're going to have rent freeze and all that. Oh, you're going to have government funded groceries. And those who don't understand economics, they go, oh, great, how wonderful. That's what we want. But if you have any idea about economics, if you understand how labor market works, if you understand demand and supply, if you understand capital and capitalism, if you understand the mechanism through which people and cities prosper, then you will not support communist policies. Communism leads to destruction, and we've seen that. You got to study history. It's nothing new. I'm not giving you some kind of a theory. I'm just telling you what we have learned from the past. You got to read history, and you'll see that communism leads to destruction. When someone says you're going to have free stuff, nothing's free. Nothing's free. There's nothing free. Listen, means of production, the production process, everything has to be produced. Everything has to be produced. And production is not free. It requires input, raw materials. And those inputs, those raw materials cost money. Somebody is investing capital to produce something. If you are getting it for free, it may be free to you, but somebody else is having to bear the cost of that. Somebody else is having to pay for that. And in this case, when Zoran Mamdani or somebody like Zoran Mamdani goes out there and says, oh, you're going to have free stuff. Oh, bus will be free bus rides for everyone. Well, the bus has to be purchased. Somebody has to put fuel in the bus. Somebody has to pay the driver to drive the bus. It's not free. You may just get up on a bus, go from point A to point B free of charge. You get down, you don't pay anything. It's going to be free to you at that point in time, but somebody is paying for it. Who's paying for it? The American taxpayers. Very simple, my friends. This is not rocket science. I'm not giving you 600 level economics courses material. No. I'm not saying, hey, you need to go to a university, an Ivy League or whatever, and get an economics PhD degree. You don't need that. You just need to understand simple things. Somebody's paying for everything. The bus, the city has to buy the bus. The city has to buy the fuel. The city has to pay the driver. And a city or a state or the federal government, any government entity doesn't have its own money. If somebody says, oh, government money. No, where does the government get the money from? The government gets the money from the pockets of American taxpayers. So at the end of the day, if you are getting a free bus ride from point A to point B to point C, whatever, wherever you want to go, if it's free to you, you just get up on the bus, you hang out there, you take your seat, you wait a few minutes, and when you go from point A and you reach point B, you get down from the bus without paying a single penny. It's free to you at that point in time, but it's not free. The American taxpayers are having to bear the cost. So the more Mamdani says, it's going to be free, oh, this is going to be free, that's going to be free. Nothing's free. Nothing's free. The taxpayers are going to pay for all that. This is very simple. Very, very simple. And you know what the communists are going to do then? They're going to increase taxes. On one hand, the communists will say, we're going to give you free stuff. But on the other hand, they're going to say, oh, we're just going to increase your property tax by a little bit. Oh, we're going to impose a small fee for you to do this. We're going to impose a small fee for you to do that. Oh, it's just 10 more cents over here. Don't worry about it. Oh, your property tax is going up by 1%. Oh, don't worry about it. You know what? This is how it starts. A little bit of fee here, a little bit of fee there. Increase the tax, increase the sales tax, increase the property tax. And before you realize, you're drowning in taxes and fees. At one point you realize, oh my God, I cannot bear this burden, the burden of overtaxation, the burden of all these charges and fees. My friends, what is New York City's future? What is the economic future? So many people from all over the world, when they come here legally, I'm not talking about the illegal immigrants. I'm talking about the legal immigrants. When they come to the US legally, many of them end up in New York because it's such diverse city, big immigrant communities. They end up in New York. They start their life from scratch. They try to build up a better future in New York City. Because they look at the United States as the land of opportunity, which it is, but opportunity only when we have a strong capitalist system. But if New York City decides to embrace communism by electing a mayor named Zoran Mamdani, there's not going to be opportunities left in New York City. There's not going to be the capitalist system left in New York City. There's going to be widespread poverty. Businesses will leave the city. Businesses will leave the state. Americans, hardworking Americans, are going to move out of New York City. Many already have over the last few years. And more people are going to move out of New York City because they are going to say, there's no way we're going to live in this city under a communist mayor. My friends, what's going to happen to the city of New York? I am deeply concerned. And I know many of my friends who are watching are also concerned. My friends, Mamdani has made it very clear that he is going to really expand the size and scope of the government. Zohran Mamdani supports more government, bigger government, more powerful government. Not less government. Less government is what we want. We, the American people, we want limited government. We want less government. We want greater freedom in the market. But Zohran Mamdani, he supports an expansion of government power. Zohran Mamdani does not want limited government. He wants a massive bureaucracy. Now back to Curtis Sliwa. As I said, those who are asking him to drop out, they're just trying to do damage control. They know that Curtis Sliwa is not going to win, and they just want to make sure that Cuomo wins, who is a very poor choice, but less worse than Mamdani. That's not good politics. Once again, why didn't the Republicans come up with a strong and energetic candidate for the New York City mayoral race? This is a lesson for the future. This is a lesson for the future. I hope the Republicans in New York take this very seriously. I hope they sit down and have a conversation among themselves and say, what did we do? What did we do? Why didn't we find a strong, young, energetic candidate for the mayor's race? My friends, let's talk about immigration. We know New York City is a sanctuary city. And it just breaks my heart every time I have to say New York City is a sanctuary city. Why? Why is this a sanctuary city? A great city like New York, once upon a time, amazing, great city. But it's a sanctuary city. It provides shelter to the illegal immigrants. And we saw that during the Biden administration. As illegal immigrants from all over the world, they were entering the US and they had one destination in mind. They wanted to go to New York City because they knew, because they've been told, they've been informed that, hey, if you go to New York City, you're going to get shelter. You're going to get a hotel room. You're going to get free food. You're going to get prepaid cards. And so illegal immigrants, they went to New York City because they wanted free stuff. That is what the illegal immigrants want. You got to understand this. The illegal immigrants, they want free stuff. They come into the US and they say, where am I going to get free stuff? I want more free stuff. And they go to New York City. And not just New York City, they go to Chicago as well, and Denver, and San Francisco, and Los Angeles. All the sanctuary places. And they want free stuff. We, the American people, we have to work hard for everything. We pay taxes, we work hard, but the illegal immigrants, they just want free stuff. And so, my friends, Zohran Mamdani, Do you think that he's going to cooperate with the Trump administration to help catch criminal aliens and make sure that they get deported? Do you think that Zoran Mamdani, if he wins, which he very well might, I think. I mean, that's statistically, I think he's heading towards victory, which is sad. It just breaks my heart to say that, but that's the reality. But anyway, if he becomes the mayor, do you think that he's going to cooperate with Tom Homan, the border czar? By the way, do you think the border czar is doing an amazing job? I think the border czar is doing a really great job. Do you support the border czar? Let me know if you support the border czar. Tom Homan. Swaggy says yes. Thank you, Swaggy. Tom Homan, great man, doing great work. I congratulate Tom Homan for the amazing work that he has done, and I wish him all the best for more great things that he has to do as the border czar. Kristi Noem, DHS secretary, really wonderful leader, and others. So President Trump has a great team. But anyway, going back to New York, do you think if Mamdani gets elected, day one in office, is he going to say, oh, now that I'm the mayor of New York City, I'm going to contact our great president, Donald Trump, and I'm going to talk to Tom Homan, border czar. I'm going to talk to Kristi Noem, DHS secretary, and I'm going to extend my cooperation. I'm going to tell them, hey, whatever help you need from the city of New York in immigration enforcement, we're going to help you. We're going to cooperate. Whatever you need, we're here for you. Do you think Zoran Mamdani is going to say that? Or is he going to come up with a plan or a press release to oppose the Trump administration's immigration enforcement policies? Which one do you think is going to happen? Which one do you think is going to happen? Do you think Mamdani is going to say, I'm going to cooperate with the Trump administration? Because, yeah, we got a problem here. All these illegal immigrants, they need to be deported. We need to send them back to where they came from. They're causing trouble in our city. So let me call border czar Tom Homan, let me call President Trump and DHS secretary and see what kind of help they need from New York City. We're gonna cooperate with them 100%. Do you think Mamdani is gonna say that? Or is he just going to try to shield the illegal aliens from deportation? Is he going to protect them from deportation? Which one do you think is going to happen? Tell me. Tell me, my friends. Share with me your thoughts. Swaggy is saying that Mamdani is going to shield the aliens. I think Swaggy is correct. Mamdani is going to shield the aliens. He's going to protect the aliens. Let me read some comments. Let me read some. By the way, my friends, have you subscribed yet? If you have not done so, please do that now. Please subscribe, okay? I would appreciate that. We're trying to grow this community. You know, we went from 0 to 1,000 subscribers, then 5,000, 10,000, 13,000. Then we reached 14,000. Now we've crossed 14,500. And we're going to get to 20,000 soon, I hope. So please subscribe. please subscribe. I would appreciate that very much. It's a small channel, you know, not a huge channel. We don't have like 100,000, 500,000, a million subscribers. All that I'm trying to do is to spread the truth. I want to create a space where we can discuss facts, not fiction. Facts, not fiction. This is a channel where we don't discuss propaganda. This is a channel where we discuss accurate information. We talk about the truth. We talk about the reality, what's happening in the country and around the world, in American cities, in American states. That is what we do. That is what we do. No left-wing propaganda on this channel. We do hear a lot of propaganda, you know, every time. Like right now, you look at folks like Hakeem Jeffries. Every time he opens his mouth, he's got a whole bunch of left-wing propaganda talking points ready. Hakeem Jeffries, okay. Now we're talking about federal politics. Hakeem Jeffries continues to keep the government shut down. Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer can open up the government. He's got the power. All he has to do is tell his caucus to, hey, vote to open the government. But the Democrats are keeping the government shut down. It's the Schumer shutdown. That's what it is. The Schumer shutdown. But this is a channel where we expose the truth, where we give you accurate information, where we reveal to you the facts. And not just that, the live chat is a place for dialogue. I do understand that some people like to use harsh language. They engage in name calling in the live chat, which is very unfortunate, because I always emphasize respect. Have a debate, have an argument, but do so in a respectful manner. Don't use harsh language. Even if you don't agree with someone, don't use harsh language. Be nice. That is what we can do. As human beings, we can be decent, we can be nice to each other. Even if the other person that you're talking to doesn't agree with your viewpoints, that is fine. Two people don't have to agree with each other. As long as they are able to have a dialogue, to express their own viewpoints and to listen to what the other person has to say, and to be able to understand what the other person's viewpoints are. It doesn't mean you're going to change your principles and policies. But listen to what the other person has to say. Have a dialogue. Have a constructive conversation, because at the end of the day, we are all Americans, my friends. We are all Americans. And together, it's a collective effort. When I say make America great again, we can do it together, and that's how it has to be. It's not a one-person job. Yes, we have elected Donald J. Trump. Yes, we know that we have overwhelmingly voted for Donald J. Trump, so overwhelmingly that he won in a landslide. He not only got the Electoral College votes, he got the popular vote. He won in a landslide. Kamala wants to deny that. Kamala is going to say, oh, no, that was a very small margin of victory. It wasn't that big. But we know Kamala is lying. The Democrats, when they say, oh, it was just a small margin of victory. No, that's a lie. The truth is it was a landslide victory. And so we elected President Trump to make America great again. But he cannot do it alone. He needs each and every one of us Americans. He wants the Americans to be involved in the process. He wants the Americans to be engaged in the process of making America great again. It's a collective effort. We have to do it together, my friends. Yes, we have Donald Trump as the leader. He's providing the leadership. But every person has to be involved in this process. This is our country, my friends. This is our home. We have to protect our home. And we have to make our home, our land, our country great again. Not just great again, but greater than ever before. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for all your support. It's good to see so many of you here. 53 likes on this video already. I really appreciate that. And to those who have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. You got to subscribe. It is extremely important. And in case you're asking, hey, Tausif, why should we subscribe? Well, once you subscribe, you'll be a part of this community. And, you know, the point is that when you hit the subscribe button, it doesn't cost you anything. You just hit the subscribe button. You turn on the notification. I think there's a way to turn on the notification. And what happens is every time I publish a video, every time I start a live stream, hopefully you get a notification because you're a subscriber. And then you can just tune in. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch it on your laptop, on TV if you connect. If you have YouTube on your TV screen, you can watch. And of course, you can participate in the live chat by writing your comments. All right, my friends. I hope you all understand the importance of the New York City mayoral race. And I'm really sad that the Republicans could not come up with a stronger candidate. It's really sad. But anyway, now I'm going to try to answer some of your questions in the live chat. Ask meaningful questions, okay? Ask meaningful questions and I will answer. I know some folks, they're using a lot of sarcasm and all that. No, ask meaningful questions and I will do my best to answer. So someone's saying, why are you illegal? No, I'm a legal immigrant and I'm a naturalized American citizen, okay? Someone's asking, do you work in tech support? No, I don't work in tech support. All right. I know that was a bit sarcastic. That was a little bit harsh. I know what you mean. No, I don't work in tech support. Matt is saying, welcome, Tosifanam. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I am so proud to be an American citizen. I really am. When I took the oath of allegiance to become an American citizen, it was the best day of my life. Someone's saying, yo, bro. All right there, bro. To anyone who's saying, yo, what's up, bro? Hello, bro. Someone's asking about the No Kings rally. So I actually did a live stream regarding the this so-called No Kings Day rally, which I think is just absolute nonsense. No king. We don't have kings in America. There's no king in America. So what's the point of having No Kings Day rally? What does that even mean? Complete waste of time. And I talked in details about this. I mean, all those people who spent hours attending No King's Day rally, you just wasted your time. What does that even mean, No King's Day rally? There are no kings. We are a constitutional republic, which is why I think all the folks who were participating at No King's Day rally, they need good education. That's what they need. They need good education. Maybe they don't understand that the United States of America is a constitutional republic. Maybe they didn't study civics. Maybe they didn't study political science. Maybe they didn't study, history. There are no kings in America. Complete waste of time. Brandy is saying, I'm wasting my time watching you. Well, if you think you're wasting your time watching my video, you can just close the window, go do something else. You don't have to be here. Okay? If you think you're wasting your time watching my video, why are you watching my video? Swaggy says TTTT, which means Tossif tells the truth. Thank you, Swaggy. Swaggy is the one who came up with that. TTTT, Tossif tells the truth. Thank you, Swaggy. Garcia is asking 2028. You're probably asking me about 2028, the presidential race, right? Okay, so here's what I will tell you. On the Republican side, I'm not going to try to predict who's going to be the candidate in 2028. Okay, it's too early for that on the Republican side. On the Democrat side, things are getting very, very interesting and quite crazy. Okay, so I think Gavin Newsom is definitely getting ready to run, I think. I think Kamala Harris is going to run because she was recently asked. Okay, something I talked about before, maybe you didn't hear it. Somebody asked Kamala Harris clearly about 2028 if she's going to run for president. You know what she said? She said, maybe, maybe not. What does that mean? Maybe, maybe not. She did not give a clear answer. She said maybe, maybe not, which tells me it's the Democrat Party way of saying that she's going to run for president in 2028. So I think one massive defeat in 2024 was not enough for Kamala Harris. I think she wants to lose a second time. She wants to lose again, which is why I think she's planning to run for president in 2028. That's my understanding. And then AOC, some say AOC, if she's going to run, AOC might run. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? AOC, if she decides to run, oh my God, what's going to happen? And someone's saying Tim Walz. Tim Walz. I don't think I'm even going to make any comment about Tim Walz. I don't think I'm even going to make comments about Tim Walz. Tim Walz lost in a massive way. What a massive defeat it was. Tim Walz, absolutely total loser. Okay? And it's a fact. It's a fact. He's a loser. He lost in 2024. And if he would have been elected as the VP, he would have been a worse vice president than Kamala Harris. Okay, Kamala Harris, right now, she holds the title, in my opinion, of being the worst vice president in American history. Tim Walz would have been worse than Kamala. Oh, someone's saying, what happened to being nice and not insult? No, I'm not insulting. I am not insulting anyone. I'm just stating a fact. I am not insulting anyone. I mean, is it an insult if I say that Kamala Harris lost in a landslide? That President Trump had a massive victory and Kamala Harris had a miserable defeat? I'm not being rude to anyone. I'm just stating the obvious fact. Swaggy, you agree with me, right? Marjorie, do you agree with me? Others who are watching? Let's see. K. Cooper says, TTTT. It's wonderful to see K. Cooper here. K. Cooper, thank you. Swaggy says, I definitely agree, Tossif. TTT. Listen, I don't want to be rude to anyone. That's not in my nature. I'm simply stating a fact. If you think it's rude to point out the fact, to say that Kamala Harris experienced a pretty miserable defeat, it's the truth. I'm not making things up. All right, let me give you the numbers here. Hold on. So, the 2024 presidential election result. Who can tell me how many electoral college votes Donald Trump received? Can you give me a number? How many electoral college votes did Donald Trump receive? Give me the number. Don't Google that. Just give me the number. Do you remember from your memory? K. Cooper says 300 plus. Oh, Swaggy says 300 plus. K. Cooper is also guessing it's more than 300. It is 312. 312. Okay? 312, 312. That's Donald Trump. And Kamala Harris, all you got to do is do the math. Kamala Harris received 226 electoral college votes. Okay? Donald Trump 312, Kamala Harris 226. Now, what is the difference between the two? It's a difference of 86 electoral votes. 86 electoral votes. That's a massive margin. That's a massive margin. And so that's why when I say Kamala Harris experienced a pretty miserable defeat, Donald Trump had a massive landslide victory. That's the fact. I'm not being rude to anyone. Okay, someone's asking, are you losing your hair? No, I have lots of hair. Okay. I actually am going to need a haircut because my hair is pretty long compared to what I usually do, my preferred style. So no, the reason why I wear this is because of the message on the hat. Make America Great Again. I'm not losing any hair. I think some people out there would like me to lose hair, but I'm not. Every time I go for a haircut, they tell me, you got really thick hair. Sam says, very defensive. Yeah, Sam says very well, once again, stating the truth. That's what I do, Sam. Thank you, Kay. Kay Cooper says, gorgeous hair, great hat. Thank you, Kay. Appreciate it. Okay, why am I sniffing? I got allergies. I got allergies. I don't know if you can tell. Do I live in New York? I don't live in New York, no. When I came to the US for the first time, I landed at the JFK International Airport. So, yeah, I've been to New York. I don't live in New York. Where do I live? I live in Wisconsin. It's the Badger State, America's Dairyland. Okay, I live in Wisconsin. Wow, it's 7:31 a.m. That's great. 7:31 a.m. Central Time. So if you're watching from Central Time, how many people are in the Eastern Time Zone? Yeah, I wonder who's in the Central Time Zone, who's in the Pacific Time Zone. Someone's asking what part in Wisconsin? South Central. South Central. Sam is saying, dude, you have zero content. Well, Sam, you're still here. You're still watching, Sam. I got zero content. I have a lot of content. Sam, you got to go back and look at all the live streams I've done since January of 2024. Okay. And all the things that I discussed. I actually would, so before the election, I did very, very thorough electoral map analysis. I talked about the different Senate races. I talked about the battleground states. I talked about the electoral college vote predictions. I have so much of content, and you just have to go back and look at all the stuff I talked about. And I do talk about very, very serious topics, but you know, at the end of my live stream, I love to chat with people. It's part of my live streams. There are things I want to say, which I say, and then I answer people's questions. That's how I have been doing my live streams for, more than a year and a half now, almost getting close to 2 years now. So this is my format. If you like it, you do. If you don't like it, you don't. Okay? And Sam, I just don't do live. It's not just live streams that I do. If you look me up, Sam, I'm going to give you, and others, okay? Hold on a second. I'm going to give you my website. If you go, it's tausifanam.net. If you go, and I'm actually going to pin my website address to the top of the chat screen, tausifanam.net. You can also search my name in Google or any search engine. You'll find information about me. So you will see that I have written many, numerous letters to editors and op-eds. I have been published in many. My writings have appeared in. Let me give you the list. Okay, it's too long of a list, so I'm going to mention it here. So my letters to editors and op-eds that I've written on a wide range of social and political issues have appeared in USA Today. Hold on a second. I have the list here, so I'm just trying to pull that up. USA Today, the Washington Examiner, the Washington Times, the Western Journal, the Boston Globe, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Philadelphia Inquirer, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Wisconsin State Journal, the Capital Times, the Dodgeville Chronicle, and more. Okay, and also Washington Post, and New York Post. So I do a lot of writing. You're watching my live stream, but I'm basically a writer. Okay. Sam's asking, you're including letters in this? Yes, letters to editors and op-eds, both. Yeah, I'm including everything. Okay. Good question, by the way. Because, yeah, letters are different from op-eds. Op-eds are longer, letters are smaller. So, yeah, I'm including everything. I keep track of everything. Okay? So, it's my opinion. Whether you'll write a letter or an op-ed, letters tend to be less than 200 words. In some places, they allow you to write a little longer, maybe less than 300. That's letters, varies by publication. And op-eds tend to be longer, 800 words, 1,000 words. So yeah, letters to editors and op-eds both. Okay. You can go to my website and you can click on the tab that says Published Opinions. Okay. And you can see my complete list over there. And then I also have a blog on my website. So those are things that I didn't publish in the newspaper. Those are just opinions I've published in my blog, my personal blog. So you can go read that. You can also go check out my books. I've written 2 books of poems. I got them published when I was still an undergraduate student. So you can actually go and it's all on my website, the information, right? You can go look at my website. Yeah, check out my website. By the way, you can also sign up for my e-newsletter, which I try to send out, I'd say once every 15 days, although sometimes it gets to be a little longer. I think my last newsletter that I emailed out to my friends and my, those who signed up for it was back in September, I think, or maybe beginning of October. I think it was back in September. So it's been, I'd say, more than 2 weeks. So it's time for another one. It's overdue. So I'm going to send one out very soon, I hope. And because it's already October 22nd. And yeah. Marjorie saying, Tosif, did you go to college or university in the USA? I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. The University of Wisconsin-Madison for my undergrad and graduate school. I did attend a university in Bangladesh also for my first year. So I did transfer credits from that university in Bangladesh to UW-Madison, University of Wisconsin-Madison. So I was able to transfer my credits, and then I continued at UW-Madison. So that's where I spent most of my time in my undergrad and then, of course, graduate school. So I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. Yeah, University of Wisconsin-Madison. That's where I went to school. Thanks for the question, Marjorie. Wow, 7:40 a.m. All right, so I've been live streaming for 1 hour 36 minutes. Someone's asking, what is your master's in? So I have what's called MPA, Master of Public Affairs. That's my degree. So different public policy schools, depending on which university it's in, some call it MPP, which is Master of Public Policy. Some call it MPA, Master of Public Administration. Some call it MPA, Master of Public Affairs, depending on which school you go to, okay? And obviously the curriculum varies. It's a little different in every school, the courses and all that. So MPA, the one that I have, is Master of Public Affairs. That's my degree. I got my undergraduate degree in 2011, got my master's degree in 2013. So I went straight from undergrad to graduate school. You know, it's wonderful that even those who don't agree with my viewpoints are here and participating actively in the live chat. So I appreciate that. You know, it is my goal to connect with people of different viewpoints. So you don't have to be in agreement with me on each and everything. Um, and you know, I have Republican friends too. They may not agree with me on everything. I mean, we have diversity of thoughts among the Republicans. Um, just as we have diversity of thoughts uh, across the country. And so I have Republican friends, and there are certain issues where My views are different from theirs, and that's fine. And we see that in Congress too, right? I mean, not all Republicans vote the same way. Not all Democrats vote the same way. I mean, there are a couple of Democrats who want to vote to open the government up. There are some moderate Democrats there. We know that. They want to open the government, but you know what? Chuck Schumer is keeping it all shut down, which is very, very unfortunate. And I've said this before, and I'm going to repeat this number. Every day that the government remains closed, remains shut down, we're losing up to $15 billion. Up to $15 billion. That's a huge loss for our country, losing up to $15 billion a day. But it's all because of the Schumer shutdown. Sam is complaining about my sniffing. Listen, Sam, we are human beings, okay? Human beings of flesh and blood. And you know, people can have allergies. It's normal. Do you know that, Sam? Having an allergy is very, very normal. Okay? We're not superhumans, we're not robots. Okay? We're not supernatural beings. We can have things like allergies. So if I'm having allergy this morning, I'm sniffing. So what's wrong with it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yes, Sam's like complaining about the sniffing. I just don't get it. Like sniffing. I got allergies. Okay? Oh, Swaggy is saying Sam just being difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. You know, anyone wants to be a little difficult, that's fine. Hey, listen, it's you know, they're still watching. Sam is still very much engaged in the uh, live chat. All right. By the way, I'm gonna wrap it up here very soon. Like we've spent almost 1 hour 45 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap this up. My friends, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. even those uh, who were here to criticize me, well, thank you for doing that. It's much appreciated. I'm not saying you can't criticize me, and freedom of speech. Just be nice. It's a lesson for um, life in general. Just be nice to people, and I hope that those who were not nice to me today, you will be nice next time. Okay. So thank you all for being here, my friends. I appreciate you all. And to our friends, Marjorie, Swaggy, Frank, Kay, and others, I may be missing some names. You know who you are. I appreciate you all. Thanks for your continued support. And I'm going to be back again very soon with more videos and more live stream. Please subscribe, hit the subscribe button if you have not done so yet. Support this channel. There's going to be a lot to discuss going forward, and we will do that right here. So thank you once again. May God bless you all. May God bless our president, Donald J. Trump. May God bless the Trump administration. May God bless the Republicans in Washington. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless our U.S. allies, and we have some very strong allies. And may God bless freedom-loving people all over the world. And together, my friends, remember, we the Americans, together, we will make America great again. With that, have a wonderful day, and I'm going to be back again very soon. Thank you, my friends.